We all know combat in D&D is about getting the foes we face to 0 HP, right? Wrong. Combat is about time. It's about the amount of turns it takes to finish an encounter. If you've ever played Magic the Gathering, you've probably heard of the clock. This refers to cards or board states that put a fixed timer on the game. If, for example, you have a dragon that deals 5 points of damage to the opponent each turn and they have 16 points of life left, then this opponent is on a 4-turn clock. They have 4 turns to somehow defeat you or deal with the dragon before they lose the game. The clock acts as a natural timer for the match. It ensures that the game will end swiftly. As a side effect, it ensures that it's impossible for the game to become boring. This is why many board games, like Wingspan for example, have a limited amount of turns. How many turns do you need in a D&D combat? If you want to tell a story with the mechanics of the game and you want to properly show off the abilities of your boss monster, you usually need at least 3 turns of combat. However, if the battle continues beyond 5 turns, you will probably lose the engagement of at least some of the players around the table. If you want your combat to be memorable and your players engaged, plan for the combat to go for no longer than 5 turns. This is what I call the 5-turn clock. Great combat is about the rise and release of tension. The players in a game of Dungeons & Dragons will win most of the time, and that's not a problem. But victory will be a lot sweeter when it wasn't guaranteed. To achieve this sense of danger, you need to build up tension. It can be achieved by changes in the environment or even by adding plot-specific win conditions to the encounter. The 5-turn clock asks players to act in order to succeed. This makes your games more interesting and memorable. So, how do you add the 5-turn clock to your next D&D combat? The simplest way to do it is to make sure the monsters are doing enough damage. Add up the entire HP pool of the party, then divide it by 5. This means the party has 5 turns to achieve victory. If they haven't ended the fight by then, it's over. They face defeat and probably even death. The death of player characters is the ultimate way to add high stakes to a battle, but it's definitely not the only option. If you prefer lower mechanical stakes, or you prefer not to risk the lives of the entire party every session, you can create a narrative version of the 5-turn clock. Perhaps the monster is opening a portal and the spell will be completed in 5 turns. Maybe a ritual sacrifice by an evil cult will take 5 turns before an eldritch god from beyond enters the material realm. A priceless magical item is in the middle of a bridge that is falling apart. The party needs to get it in 5 turns or lose all hopes of defeating the ultimate villain. You don't need to include a 5-turn clock to every battle you run. Sometimes the player just needs an easy win over some lesser evildoers. And sometimes you have an idea for a multi-stage combat requiring a lot more turns. The 5-turn clock is a powerful concept you can add to your DM toolbox. It will remind you to add tension to combat and the simplest way to do it. But it's not the only secret every dungeon master needs to learn. Check out this video for 5 more.